So we can dive into the business of the day. All right, so straight up, I'll move to the second slide, the second page on my slide. If you're watching on Facebook, you can't see the slide, but whatever is on the slide, I definitely will be communicating it, explaining what's on the slide, so you really can get along. And if you can do your best to migrate from Facebook and join on the Zoom platform, so just use the link in the comment section and join us on the Zoom platform. All right, so chances are that if you're on this webinar tonight or you're going to watch this webinar later, you're going to fall in one of these four categories. The first is you're probably employed, but not well paid. I almost always feel like that's a norm, even though not everybody in Nigeria works and is not well paid. I really do. If I strongly am convinced, not like I'm convinced, the facts will prove that there are still a few sectors in Nigeria that can match up to, at least to some extent, with what is being paid in some other climes outside Nigeria, even though I still strongly, submit that whatever is being paid, even in those sectors, cannot compare what is paid in, advanced economies. So, but number one, if you're on this webinar, you're going to join later, you probably saw the invitation, you saw the post on Facebook, you got it by, my email links and all of that. You are likely, number one, either you're employed, but you are not well paid and you're seeking other means of revenue. Number two, either you're employed, you're well paid, but you feel like there is more to life than your present routine. I've also made a couple people, quite all right. The jobs they are doing are fantastic. The pay is amazing, but the issue is just that they don't find fulfillment doing exactly what, they are doing. The reason being that we're wired different ways. We're wired differently. For instance, I'm a person that really doesn't like to sit in the office and work. I basically don't like it. I'm a person who likes to be adventurous. I like to travel the world. I like to be on the move. Usually if I stay in a place for probably 1 month, 2 months, I'm beginning to feel, oh man, I need fresh air. And when I say I need fresh, I just don't mean I need the natural air. What I'm simply saying is I need to go and experience somewhere else. I need to travel. And this does not be travel out of the country. It could be travel out of the state. It could just be travel within the state, or just go to another environment and go and explore what's happening. So for somebody like me, all of my years working 9 to 5, it was really like I just wanted more. I felt like there has to be more. There has to be more than coming to the office every morning, probably, being on, signing papers, sending mails, talking to people on phone, there are people quite all right who don't like the lifestyle where you are going up and down, where some persons just like, waking up in the morning, getting dressed, looking beautiful, looking gorgeous, going to the office and doing, whatever it is they do. Perfect, absolutely fine. But some other person, based on their personality, they just don't like, that kind of lifestyle. So like I'm saying, if you're on this webinar, it's chances are that you're probably employed, but you're not well paid and you're seeking other means of revenue. You're probably seeking what is popularly called a side also. Number two is you actually might be well employed. You might be employed and well paid, but you feel like there is more to life than your present routine. You feel like just want more out of life than what exactly you're doing right now. Okay, so that's another category that might be on this webinar. Another category that might be on this webinar is that you are probably, now I say this with all sense of modesty, you probably don't have something you're doing right now and you are desperately looking for something meaningful to do, or you're just desiring more, and there is the fourth category you just had about the webinar, and you saw that there is money in the webinar and you feel like, oh, okay, if there is money in the webinar, let's just go and hear what they're saying there. Or probably you're on the webinar either on Facebook or on Zoom just because it is me, it is Divine, it is Coach D that is holding the webinar, and you just want to show support. I want to just say you're welcome tonight. And indeed, if you fall in any of these four categories, then definitely, you're not in the wrong place. It definitely means that whatever it is I'm going to say tonight will, in one way or the other, you will find something useful in it. Now, the truth of the matter is, while all of the webinar might not be, that's the point. I mean, depending on which category you fall, all of the aspect of the webinar may not directly apply to you, but one thing is sure, this is going to be a value-packed webinar. This is going to be a webinar. Annabelle Chami, I see you. my friend from NYC. This is going to be a webinar that you will definitely leave knowing that you have picked, a few things that would, it's going to be your aha moment. It's going to be your wow moment. It's going to be something that really struck you and you really want to make use of it, or you just, transformed your thinking or, your mindset. So if you're in any of these four categories, this webinar is for you. And I really want to ensure you that this will not be a waste of time. This is not going to be a long webinar, but it's definitely going to be very impactful. So the truth of the matter is, from relating with people, I've come to figure out that regardless of the group that you belong to, in the four groups that I mentioned earlier, one thing is clear. Number one, it is that you desire to earn a better income. Number two, you desire to live a fulfilled life. Whatever that means, that could actually mean different things to people. What gives me fulfillment might not give you fulfillment. But of course, I want, from my interaction with people, all of us, that might be, a hasty generalization too. Most of us, or most people, are constantly on the lookout for whatever it is, that gives them happiness, that makes them happy, that gives them fulfillment. So if you're on this webinar, regardless of the group, I want to be sure that you desire to earn a better income. Number two, you desire to live a fulfilled life, whatever that means to you. And number three, you're sure searching for a framework or blueprints that will give you number one and two. So it's either you're looking for a framework, or blueprints that will give you what you desire to earn, the income you desire to earn. If for instance you're doing a job and you feel you're not well paid, and like I like to say, if you're a Nigerian, if you're on this webinar on Facebook, and you are not a Nigerian, and I don't know what's obtainable in your climb, but in this climb that I'm familiar with, I think a lot of people are really underpaid, when it comes to comparing what people are paid to what exactly they are doing. Let's just be real with ourselves. I do not say this, I say this with all sense of humility. I think the system does not accurately and adequately reward work in this part of the world. For example, if you are probably in some advanced climate, in some more developed nation, and of course, that I've had experience to probably work for, in recent times, people are paid per hour. And, it will be a shocker sometimes that what certain people earn within 1 hour in some other climes is what some people, is what is generally known as what is it called? I actually can't find the word now. What is this called? This thing at the federal level, that is, what is it called? Minimum wage. All right. Yeah, I was trying to remember what it's called. It's minimum wage. So it will shock you to know that what people earn outside Nigeria, I mean, in economies like, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, what people earn in 1 hour is probably around $25, depending on the job. Some jobs are paid probably $15, $20, depending on the skilled level, depending on the qualification, the professional level. Some of that jobs earn, way more than that per hour. I'm talking about some of that, professions pay way more than $50 and all of that per hour. So if a person is in that kind of climb and you earn $50 per hour, we're talking presently, looking at how much the exchange rate goes for in Nigeria, we're talking 25,000 naira at the least for working for just 1 hour. And the reality of what we're facing in the third world economy is that some persons actually get paid $50 for working for a month. Now, it's very sad, but it's the reality. Some people go to work early in the morning, go as early as 7 a.m., come back late at night, do that for, sometimes 6 days in a week. That's 24 days or to 26 days in a month. And at the end of the month, they are paid $50, the worth of $50 in a month. That's what some people, get. So what brought me to this is I'm saying that the system we have over here in Nigeria and in most, developing countries, developing economies, it's that people are underpaid for the work they do. People do a whole lot of work only to be paid what does not measure, in some other clients. So I have to, bring some advanced economies into the picture and, compare with what is obtainable and discover that it's actually, it's a lot of pain. It's a lot of pain. And so, like I was saying, if you're on this webinar, chances are that you desire to earn a better income, Also, you desire to live a fulfilled life, and this is not about income. This necessarily doesn't have to do with income. You just want to do something that you feel fulfilled doing. You just want to do something that gives you happiness. It may not give you all the millions, it may not give you all the thousands, it may not give you all the money, it may not give you all the house and the cars, but you're doing it and you're fulfilled doing it. And number three, you are looking for a framework, a blueprint that will give you either number one or number two, or that will give you the two at the same time. And I want to say you are in the right webinar. There are things that I believe there are things that I'm going to say tonight that will just shift your mindset. And probably that will, if all it does for you tonight is that it just strikes a desire in your heart to search for more, then that's fine. And if it actually goes, if it goes, a little further to give you something actionable that you can actually begin to do immediately after this webinar, then that is exactly the reason why this webinar was put together. It's either that it strikes a chord in you, puts in you a desire to actually pursue and to search for more. Because ideally, the truth of the matter is you deserve more. Everybody deserves more. The economy might not be rewarding our work or might not be rewarding your work, but it's, the call is on you to ask for more. And, like somebody says, the world or the earth or the system or the universe will only give to you what you demand from it. It is what you ask from the universe. Let me use that. It's what you demand from the universe that it will give unto you. The moment you say, oh, I'm fine with this, I'm fine at this level, the universe is fine with it. That's the truth. So, there's this series you can actually get to lay your hands on YouTube. It says, your wish is your command. And what it's simply saying is every human has the capacity and the ability to, by the desire of their mind, stir up themselves to actually attain whatever it is they want to attain in life. Whatever height you want to go to. Have you seen people get to, as old as probably 70 and they tell themselves, I still want to bag a law degree. And they do all they can, get back into the university, spend 5 years, get a law degree, go to law school, do 1 year in law school, and, they are called to bar at the age of 75, 76, 77. What actually made that possible? It is a strong and a burning passion, a strong desire. So at the root of every success that anybody achieves in life, first and foremost, is that desire, is that passion, is that drive, just that desire for more. It is what actually, wires everything, every other situation and circumstances to come together to actually cause your path to align with that which you have desire. So it begins with your desire. It begins with whether you're content with whatever it is, that is your experience now, or you're just on the move. You're looking for something more. I can see all of you guys on Facebook giving me likes and, some love. Thank you for showing me all the love. Now, I really just want you to pay absolute rapt attention and, and get what I am about to actually delve in tonight. I've not started yet. We're just still probably laying some, foundation, doing some preamble. If you really want to see my slide on Facebook, you can just click the link in the comment section and migrate to the Zoom platform. You will be able to see my slide. But if you're okay to just hear my voice on Facebook, then fine, we are together. So what are we going to be looking at tonight? Number one, and I want to probably, tell a little of my story. I mean, since, I want to tell a little of my story because where we are driving at tonight is what I have personally seen play out in my own life. And so a little of my story would just, be good for us to, move from where we had to where exactly we're going to. Then ultimately, I want to share with you my three-step framework. Yeah, my three-step framework to monetizing your passion. Now, what I want to do tonight, what I want to help you do tonight is to, number one, stir up in you a desire or probably make you see that there is a possibility, there is probably something you're not looking at. There's probably some opportunity for you out there in the world that, you need to begin to knock. There's a door you might need to begin to knock from tonight that is just waiting for you to knock and will be open. And, I'm going to share my personal story, show you the three-step framework that I followed and that you can also follow, on this journey to monetizing your passion. And number three, possibly I'm also going to be letting you know how, I can help you reduce the time and, reduce the stress to actually walk in this journey, basically because I have walked it and, and I'm still on the path, but the framework, how I can actually help you work together with you to help you reduce the stress, show you the pattern, show you how it did work for me. And, I'm strongly convinced that it can also work for you. So let's move right in. Let me quickly introduce myself. If you're on Facebook, possibly you know me a little. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Zoom, pardon me, and you probably will watch this video later. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Ajayi Olalikon Business Concept. Also the founder of Events and Innovation. Optimal Business Concept is actually a business support service brand, and what we basically do is content, creation, web design, graphic design, social media management, email marketing, and of course, I'm also the founder of Events and Innovation. Events and Innovation is a photography and a red carpet brand. We're just specialized in photography and red carpets. I'm an entrepreneur and of course a freelancer, business coach and consultant. And over the space of 2 years, I've trained at least 200 entrepreneurs, in diverse capacities. And in summary, what I'm simply saying is, I'm in a space now where I am living my best life, And when I say I'm living my best life, that does not, submit that I'm at the peak of it or I've gotten to a point of finality. Absolutely no. What I'm just simply saying is I love my life. I am doing what I love and I'm earning a living from it. That's just the summary of it. And that's exactly what I want to share with you. I'm not, I'm probably not here to boast about what I don't have. I'm just here to show you what has worked for me, what I also know, I'm convinced that can work for you because I've also seen a lot of people that the same blueprint has actually worked for. And definitely if it works for them, it can work for you. The only thing that may be lacking or that you may need to use to connect all the dots of everything I'm going to say tonight is going to be your commitment, your hard work, and your tenacity. Because if you're on this webinar and you think that what we want to share tonight is just some quick way to make money, absolutely you've gotten it wrong. What we're sharing tonight is a blueprint that requires hard work. That's the truth. It requires you to put in some amount of work and some amount of effort to knock the door, to push the door, and it definitely will open. But what I want to show you tonight is that there is a possibility that you might not have been looking at. And tonight, I want to wake your consciousness to it. When Esther, Lola, Aralola, thank you for joining. All right, so this is me in summary. And let me probably give you a picture. If you're on Zoom, you can see the horrible pictures and probably the friendly one that I have, on the screen. That this was me in 2016. In 2016, I just left the university and I was in the city of Akure. I was, I got a job. Funny enough, I actually do think this is a miracle. I got a job probably 1 or 2 days after I left school. It was divinely arranged. All right, I'm not going to put on you my Christian faith and my Christian belief right now, but simply it was absolutely divinely arranged. So this was me in the office where I was working in 2016. I will share with you what exactly I was earning in 2016. But in 2016, I was in a good space. I was in a good space because while I was in Accra in 2016, I was not just working, not just doing this job. I was also into real estate as a broker. I was just on the broker level and real estate worked for me quite all right in 2016. All right, but it's a journey. So in 2016, towards the end of 2016, if you're in Nigeria, definitely you're familiar with the National Youth Service Corps. So NYSC came calling, went for NYSC in the East, and sadly, but true, I think NYSC actually just halted the flow of my journey, the flow of the journey of my life. And it's the same experience for many young Nigerians. For some people, a few persons who go for NYC, it's always the turnaround. You go for NYC, you probably get retained. You go for NYC, you probably just get, you perform excellently well and you get a job, or you got a connection that links you up, and that's just the breakthrough for some people. But for most of us, or for some of us, who fall at the opposite end, it didn't work like that for us. I think the way my life was going in 2016, I was going on a very good pace. I mean, when it comes to what I was earning, when it comes to the kind of life I was living, I was able to afford whatever it is I wanted to get. I was able to get the latest phone, whatever it is that that speaks fun and some level of comfort for a fresh graduate. That was my experience in 2016. 2017 went for NYC, and everything just changed. All right, because NYC just didn't favor some of us. I mean, in terms, economic wise, and Also, one of the things that happened during my NYC was I made very terrible financial decisions, very terrible investments, and lost a lot of money. And then back to square one. So once I left NYC in 2017, if you're on Zoom, you see my picture in 2018. This was me in 2018. I was trying to figure out life. I was trying to figure out life. I was trying to figure out what exactly I was going to do with my life. So you need to see my picture. If you're actually on Zoom, you would have seen my picture in 2018. That was 3 years after I left. I finished my first degree, and I was actually just trying to figure out what I was going to do. I'd applied for a lot of jobs. When I say I applied for a lot of jobs, I mean a lot of jobs. I was either not called, for an interview, or I was called for an interview and didn't get the job. Probably the much things I know today, if I had actually known them then, maybe it would have actually been a different story. But I didn't know them. I was just naive. I was young. I was, just trying to look for what path should I follow? What exactly do I want to do with my life that I'm going to feel fulfilled, that I'm going to probably also have, live the kind of life that I wanted to live. And, I was missing 2016. Sadly, I was missing 2016 when things were a little rosy, if you want to put it like that, until NYC came and, they stabilized the whole thing. Now, if you're watching me on Facebook, I've not gone for NYC. I'm really not saying that if you go for NYC, that, your story is going to be like mine, but I'm just sharing my story. So don't attach any other thing to it. Go for your NYC and, have a wonderful experience. But, I'm just sharing what exactly my whole journey has been. And of course, in 2018, I was also trying to apply for masters so that I could actually further, pursue my, ambition to be a lecturer. And it did work out well. So this final picture is me in 2019. This final picture was me in 2020. All right, a little bit of the story in 2018 and 2019 was I was on my master's. I was just, out of the world. And then I was also on a job. I was on a job where I was paid 5 figures. Now, I'm tempted to mention what I was earning in 2019, but it might not be necessary. But it was 5 figures, and it was a meager 5 figures. What I mean? It was that kind of amount that you earn, and you just can't plan your life around it. So that kind of amount you earn, like I was saying at the beginning, that a lot of Nigerians, a lot of people in the third world countries are really underpaid. We do a whole lot of work, but we get paid what cannot be compared to what work, what inputs we have actually, invested in our organizations and companies. And sometimes it's not because really there is no money enough to pay people well. It's just because of a whole lot of factors. In some cases, it is that the people who establish this business, especially the private organizations, are just how to make profits, and sometimes very excessive profiteering, comes to play in all of these businesses, and people are just mismanaged, underpaid for very ungodly reasons. All right. So in 2019, I was doing a job that I actually definitely know that I could not plan my life around. Definitely. It was too clear and too obvious that I couldn't do this job for long. I could not plan my life around this. If I was actually banking my life around this job, then definitely I would stay a long time, just in the same spot, or just, like they say, merry-go-rounding. I'll just stay in the same spot, going around in a circle, not making any progress. And what did I do in 2019? I woke up one day and I told myself, this has got to stop. This has got to stop. I'm not going to advise you to do this, because what I did in 2019, I resigned on my job. I quit my job. I didn't have a plan. But one thing was sure, I was done with that lifestyle. I was done with that pattern of life. I was just done with, the fact, is it facade of, it's facade. The facade is, many people see most of us who, do 9 to 5 jobs. I mean, I was a corporate 95%, dressed very early in the morning, we're dressed all suited up. When I was on my job as the PA to the director in 2019, I would leave home as early as 6. I was on the mainland, try to beat traffic. I had to be at work by 7, at the most 7:15, and I would need to, and by nature of my job as the PA, you need to dress corporate. That means you need to probably be on a jacket, be on a suit, be on tie. You need to just be very corporate and looking very official. So people see me go out very early in the morning, as early as 6 a.m., come back very late at night, especially because 2019 I was also doing my master's. So most times I get home 11:30. And people feel like, wow, people envy you. That's the point. They envy me, they envy you. They feel like you have the world working for you. But deep down me, I knew nothing was working. Absolutely nothing was working. The only thing I was working was that I was stressed good. All right, if you look at my picture on Zoom on to the end, I think I was dressed good. I think I was dressed good. The only thing that was not good was that my account balance was not good. Nothing in my life actually seemed good, except that on the outside we dress good. We appear on on social media, or we appear wherever we appear, and everyone thinks that everything is just working perfectly in your world. So on December 19, 2019, I submitted my resignation letter. I was done. All right. But like I said earlier, you may not want to do that because you need to probably have your exit plan smartly crafted. I didn't think about what exactly was up next. What was just clear on my mind was I was tired, I was done, I could not continue with that lifestyle. And sometimes that desire, that strong desire, is sometimes what pushes some of us to, the breakthrough. Now, for the lack of words, let's use the word breakthrough. It is that desire that drove me to actually, begin to search and to seek for something better, for something more fulfilling. And that is how I got to be where I am right now. So let me quickly move to the next slide. So this was me in 2020, even though the heading reads 2019. I resigned in 2019, December 19, 2019. And I was done with corporate 9 to 5. All right. But the only thing that happened was January, February. A lot of other things happened that led me to resign. One of it was that I was just tired of that, of that lifestyle and that life cycle. Then in 2020, I got to a point I almost became, I was not bored, but the fact was I was almost becoming financially non-existent. And what that means was, since I had no plan before I quit my job, I had nothing to fall back on. I had, I didn't have any source of income. And therefore, I began to consider, okay, so what else do we do that will bring in money? I had not figured out the things I've figured out now. So I needed to get back to working. And so I got a job with a consulting firm, and that was me in the office in March 2020. But the sad part was we worked for a few weeks, maybe 2 or 3, and then COVID-19, came into Nigeria. I mean, the spread of the coronavirus began to increase in Nigeria. Then the federal government enforced, began with a lockdown, lockdown, work from home and all that. And that happened to probably towards the end of April or May. Everybody was at home. So I don't work for 3 weeks. We're sent back home and, we had to work from home. And ultimately, in not too long, the company's finances began to, be very unstable, began to fluctuate, and I had to leave. All right. So this was me resigning in December 2019, done with professional with 9 to 5. I went back in March, only for the coronavirus to upset that trajectory again, and I had to go back home. So it kind of, when that happened, I just told myself, it looks like we are finally done. So, but between then and now, I want to think, what exactly made the difference for me? Over time, I've had to sit myself down and ask myself, what exactly made the difference? Like I said, I had to do very radical things, which I would never advise anybody to do. The people that I've worked with one-on-one, coaching them one-on-one, I have always told them, if you want to exit the 9 to 5, you need to have a plan. You need to have an exit strategy. You need to have a plan. So one of the things that you need to do before you quit 9 to 5 and say you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to go into business or something, is that you need to actually equip yourself for that life. You need to equip yourself. And 2 things that I tell people that I work with is, number 1, you need to equip yourself with the skill set, that you will need for that life. Because if you quit your job to become an entrepreneur, it takes certain skills to run a business successfully. And if all you want to do is probably just go into freelancing, and do freelance work, you don't want to work, go to the office and you want to do freelance work. There are certain skills you also need to equip yourself with to be able to succeed in the freelance economy, or what it's also called the gig economy. You need to get yourself prepared. You need to equip yourself with certain skills that you're going to need in that next phase of your life. And number 2, if possible, you need to have saved some amount of money they're going to use to keep yourself together while you're trying to work on whatever projects you have actually set your hand to work on, on the side. Maybe it's a business you want to start. Definitely, if you want to start a business, you need capital to start the business. And while you're running the business, so that you don't keep touching the capital and the business you're trying to build is not, ends up crashing, you also need to have some money set aside for your personal upkeep. Okay, but I didn't go that route. I went a very radical route. I tendered my, resignation letter, and I had to figure life myself until I figured it. All right. So, but what exactly made the difference? Number one, I think it's actually a hunger and an intense desire. I did mention this earlier, that for every success that anybody achieves, at the foundation of it is actually what? A burning desire for that success. A burning desire. If you find people who stumbled on success, I can tell you the percentage can be more than 0.000001. People who stumble on success. The rule and the principle of life is that it takes hard work, it takes a strong passion and desire to attain any level of success, whether it's academic success, whether it's financial success, whatever success level you want to attain. It takes your strong desire. It also takes you putting in a certain level of effort. Not everybody is going to win lottery. Even those who win lottery definitely put in some amount of effort. Those who win probably lotto or something, they've played it for several months, several years, before that break finally came. What I'm simply saying is there's nothing for something in this life. I mean, you just want to get something without doing anything. It's really not a principle of life. And this is why many people actually got scammed with what is this called? Unfortunately, I also lost my money, during that era. I'm trying to remember the name, but I can't remember, So this is why people lose their money. When you want something for nothing, you have set yourself for a trap already. You have set yourself to be scammed already. There is no such thing as something for nothing. If you're going to get something out of life, you're going to need to exert some amount of effort, some amount of hard work, some amount of, you're just going to need to do something. That's how it works. That's how life is programmed to work. All right. So one of the things that work for me is a hunger and an intense desire, which one of the hunger, unguided hunger or unguided zeal, was what led me to resign, in December 2019. I can call it unguided zeal today simply because I want to guide people to do better. But exactly for me today, where I found myself, I really do not think it's actually an unguided zeal. I mean, probably it was the wrong move that led to a right result some way. Life actually works like that sometimes too. Then the other thing that I think worked for me is that I sought after knowledge. As soon as I tendered my resignation, the next thing I was trying to figure out is what exactly do I need to do to actually navigate my path, in this new phase that I want to walk. I've decided I don't want A, I want B. How do people who do B, how do they succeed? What exactly do I need to do? What information do I need to get to be able to actually excel in this path or on this path that I've chosen? If you also have decided to be a career person, you want to rise to the peak of your career, definitely what exactly you should be asking yourself, what exactly do people do in this career path that helps them to rise to the top? Because you don't want to settle for less, you don't want to be a mediocre. If you have decided to go for career 9 to 5, you definitely should be aiming to be at the peak, at the top of that career. And there are things that people do, there are courses people take, there are trainings people go through, there are certifications they acquire, there are knowledge and information they go for, there are things they do, there are personal development efforts they make, there are investments they make in themselves to get to where they get to. People don't just find themselves at the top. People climb the ladder to the top. So if somebody has been at the top before, what you want to be looking for, if you want to get to that same top, is that you want to look for what exactly did this person do? How exactly did this person get there? Because chances are that if you follow that path, you will also get the same results. 2 plus 2 will always be 4, except when we want to be mischievous and we decide to say 2 plus 2 is 22. But in actual fact, the principle is that when you have 2 to 2, the result has got to be 4. So whatever, I don't care whether you decide to use numbers, or you decide to use what's all this other one called, whatever you decide to use, 2 plus 2 will always be 4. All right, so that's a pattern, that's a principle, and that's how it works. If you actually see a person get a result and you want to get the same results, the next thing you should be doing is learning what exactly do you need to do to get there. The people who want to get there also and did not get there, what exactly did they do wrong that made them not to get the results that they didn't get? All right. And that made them to get the negative results. So what I sought for once I left my job in 2019, what I sought for at the beginning of 2020, and ultimately when we had to begin to work from home because of the COVID-19, what I sought for is actually what? Knowledge. So that, and all right. So what I sought for was actually the right knowledge that can equip me to be able to get the result that I desire to get. Now that I have actually, tendered the resignation from 9 to 5, and I wanted to actually go fully into business, become an entrepreneur, and of course, a freelancer. I sought for knowledge, the right knowledge from the right people, and I took action. What is missing most cases also is that people go all out, amass all the knowledge they can amass. There's this hunger and this search and this crave for knowledge. You want to learn, you've done all the trainings, you've attended seminars, you've attended webinars, you've gone on YouTube, you've watched several videos, you've gotten a lot of information, but you have done absolutely nothing with the information. That might also be the reason why you're still stuck in the same spot. Now, I'm going to share with you 2 experiences I had in 2020. If you have been with me on Facebook, you must have seen me write about it once or twice, but I'm going to share it together again. If you also read my book, the ebook that I actually, the free ebook on how to turn your passion profit, I also shared this 2 experience. In 2020, after I decided to, probably get a job back so that I can, put body and soul together, like it's commonly said, I applied for several jobs. And one of the experience I had was I applied for a job with the Chamber of Commerce, the Lagos State Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And I was supposed to be I was applying for the position of the PA to the president of the chamber. And I was called for the interview. I did the online interview, then went for the physical interview with the president herself and the senior HR executive. And the first thing the woman told me, once it was we were 5, and I think I was the last person to be interviewed. Once I stepped into the office, what the woman told me is, Ajayi Olaliko, I want to talk to you not as an interviewer to an interviewee. I want to talk to you as a mother. I've seen your CV, and I'm wondering, what exactly are you doing in this office trying to get a job as my personal assistant? That shook me. That shook me because, man, I came for an interview. Interview me, I give you the job. Are you telling me? And why was that? Why that was because in 2019, I had begun to get the insight that I was going to leave, I was going to leave corporate 9 to 5, and I had invested a lot in a lot of trainings and a lot of skills. I'd invested in digital marketing. I'd invested in of course, I learned photography while I was, on my NYC program. I had invested in a lot of training, in a lot of certifications. I had a certification in HR. I'd invested a lot. So the woman looked at my CV and looked at all the certifications, looked at all the skills. I also had gotten a master's, and she asked me, what exactly are you doing in this office? You have a lot to offer than to be in this office working as my personal assistant. And working as a personal assistant to the president of the Lagos State Chamber of Commerce and Industry would have given me at least 100,000 naira, which at that time was going to be way better than whatever I was earning, working as the PA to the director of the school. That was my next level, right from my heart. But she told me, what exactly are you doing in this office? So, what she was simply pointing my attention to is, you have acquired a lot of knowledge. You know a lot of things that you can put to use for yourself. You should not be in this office working as my personal assistant. And I thought I was the most qualified for that job. As a matter of fact, based on what she said, based on the feedback, I thought I had gotten the job already. But sadly, I didn't get the job. I didn't. Someone else got the job. Up till today, I still can't explain why that happened. But the fact was, that push, that shift, that statement was enough for me in 2020 to trigger me to set on the course and the journey that I set on, in 2020 that's gotten me here. Number 2, the second experience, in 2019, I invested hugely in e-commerce. I invested a lot of money in e-commerce, and I lost. I lost half the money that I invested. Okay, let me not say all. So let's say probably I invested, for example, whose audio is not muted on the Zoom call? All right, okay, I'll just do that from here. Okay, so we can proceed. So I invested a lot in e-commerce, and I lost all of my investments. Now, when I say all, I'm saying all because I didn't get profits. Also, my capital was not complete again. I mean, let's say I invested probably 200,000 naira. I'm not sure I made up to 50,000 naira. But why did that happen? Not because e-commerce is not profitable. E-commerce is one profitable, business that you can actually start today and you can make it big in it. But the fact was I had no knowledge whatsoever about e-commerce. I had no background. I didn't know. What I just knew was that everybody was doing e-commerce, and that's how many people do business today. People are, this is the season for, I'm going to be just be crude now. People are selling corn, and it looks like everywhere you see, this woman that sells corn, there are about 4 persons on the queue, waiting to get their corn. And, somebody sees that and feel like, oh, I think it's corn business that I should do. And they, just go to the farm, get corn and start it. So exactly what I did in 2019, everybody seemed to be selling something online. Everybody seemed to be ordering something from China, posting it and saying, pre-order, pre-order, pre-order. And I was like, oh, okay, it's like there's money in e-commerce. I took all my money, all my life savings in 2019, after I'd paid, after I'd invested a lot in my masters and all that, I took every other thing I had left, and I put it into the business, and I put it into the business, and the money went just like that. Something wrong with my network. I want to be sure you can still hear me. Please let me know if you can still hear me. I think something happened with the net connection right now. If you're on Zoom, please use the chat box. Can you hear me? Just the chat box. Don't unmute. Use the chat box. Can you hear me clearly on Zoom? If you're on Facebook too, I want to be sure you can hear me before I continue my story of how I lost all my money in e-commerce. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat box on Zoom, on Facebook, so that I can proceed. Can you hear me loud and clear? Trying to be sure that my connection is working perfectly. Once I get the green light, then we are good to go. All right, loud and clear. Thank you. So I put all my money in e-commerce and my money went down the drain. Why? Because I had no background whatsoever in e-commerce. So one of the things I also did early 2020 was that I took a training in e-commerce from one of the best e-commerce, trainer. That's Jonathan Melody. If you know, you should know Jonathan. If you have a thing for e-commerce, then you should know Jonathan Melody. I took a course in e-commerce from one of the best hands, and that was also on my CV. So the woman saw all of it and said, no, you should. Okay, so I was on the second story. So one day, my mentor, my e-commerce mentor, sent me a mail and said, Ajayi Olalekon, you and said, Ajayi Olalekon, you know too much. Don't take any course again. Use what you already know. That was the second thing in 2020 that defined my year and that set me on the path that I am on today. Those 2 words, the first word by the president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. What exactly are you doing here applying to be my PA? You have too much. You are too loaded to be in this office. That's one. And 2, my e-commerce mentor sent me a mail and told me, you know too much already. You should not be taking any course again. Use the information you have already. And really, I sat myself down and told myself, truly, you know too much. Now, when I say you know too much, it doesn't mean I know, almost everything that is to know. It just simply meant I've acquired a lot of knowledge and I'm not using any of them presently. If you're on this call, chances are that you also know too much. Chances are that you know a whole lot of things that you should be acting on, but you have not acted upon them. And probably that is why, you are still here tonight. This is a webinar. Information is flying everywhere. You're still learning something new. But the point is, when you leave this webinar, what exactly are you going to be doing with all the things that you know? So the second thing that made the difference for me in 2020 was that the knowledge I had coupled with action made the difference. And let me show you one of the things that I did in 2020. Yeah, so, okay, this was me in 2019. Immediately I resigned in 2019. The next thing I did was I went on a vacation. I went on a vacation at, somewhere almost at the outskirts of Lagos, which was about 2 or 3 days. And I was trying to figure out what my next moves were going to be. What was the next I was going to do? I'd just given up on my job. And so I just felt like, okay, let's chill. let's look at what the future holds. All right. And so just immediately after this, I began to make the moves that I made. In 2020, now this is a picture of me. Of course, much of this happened during the lockdown. It was apparently lockdown, and there was really no physical connection. And beyond that, most of the mentors that I had worked with in 2020, they were not people that I could see here. This is Kanika. If you're on Zoom, you can see my screen. Kanika is on the left. Kanika is an Indian. Kanika Kohli is an Indian. That was the first coach that I worked with in 2020. So one of the things, look, like I said earlier, if you're going to probably, because majorly I stand for entrepreneurship and personal development. If you follow me just on any social media platform, you know that these are the two things that are very core in my agenda and in my, in my campaign. So one of the things that I had to do in 2020 was to go for personal development. Okay, so now that I have made the switch from 9 to 5 and I've set myself up on the journey to be a freelancer, an entrepreneur, what knowledge do I need to excel in this calling of mine or in this new field? The first coach that I work with is Kanika Kohli. If you see me somewhere at the top of the screenshot here, that was me in 2020, just looking the way COVID-19 wanted us to look. All right. But that was my coach all the way from India. In the middle, you're going to see Ahmed. Ahmed Ragab was my second coach. Ahmed Ragab is an Egyptian, but he's based in the United Arab Emirates. This was the second person that I worked with as a coach. And when I say as a coach, I don't mean I coached them. I mean, I learned from them. I had to actually submit myself. I had to invest in personal development so I could chart the course for the journey that I was about to go on. And of course, if you're a Nigerian, I mean, I don't want to take it for granted that everybody knows Steve Harris, but most of you should know Steve Harris. Steve Harris was also one of the persons that I learned from in 2020. So what I'm simply saying is I went for knowledge, but I didn't just go for knowledge. I also took action. And these were brilliant minds who are successful in their own, in their own respective, field and respective endeavors. If you know Steve Harris, Steve Harris is actually a renowned, coach and consultant, not just in Nigeria, but at the global level. And so what I actually went after was, this is the path I want to walk. I need to learn from somebody who is actually on the path. So, like I said, you're going to make a switch, make a career transition from 9 to 5 to, becoming a business person, becoming a freelancer. One of the things you need to do is equip yourself with the right skills. You're going to need to chart the course for that life. And number two, you also need to equip yourself with the right skills that is going to help you to be able to compete favorably on that field, or in that terrain. So 3 lessons that you can take from my experience. Number one is that life will give you something better if you demand for it. It's also in the Bible, now without any disregard for any other religion on the webinar, whether on Facebook or on Zoom, the Bible says, ask and you will what? You will find. Says, knock and it shall open. Seek. I'm not sure I arranged it properly, but what it just says is, when you ask, you will find. When you knock, it will be open. When you ask, you will receive. When you knock, it will be open. And when you seek, you will find. Now, it's a principle of life that life will not give you something better until you demand for it. So ultimately, whatever is our result now, whatever is your result now, is the demand you have placed on life. Now, I say that not overlooking the fact that some of us have been placed, already in a disadvantaged economy. We have been, given birth to in a system and an economy that doesn't favor us in any way. But the truth of the matter is, even within the same economy, the point is, if you ask for something better, what this actually means is that you can actually get something better. Because there are a few people, they may not be much, the crowd may not be much, but there are a few people in the same economy, in the same system, who have placed a demand for something better and they have gotten results. Now, the other truth is also that you might also be placing your demand down, and the fact that you have not gotten it does not mean that you will not ultimately get it. It just means keep placing that demand. All right, so I'm trying to actually make sure that I touch everywhere so that it doesn't look like you're not doing something. You're definitely, I don't want to belittle your hustle. You're definitely doing something. You're definitely working hard. This system does not favor anybody, except probably those that are at the helms of affairs, those that control the resources. Maybe it does favor them, but it doesn't favor a whole lot of us. So the point is, Life would definitely give you something better if you demand for it. So you might be demanding already. As a matter of fact, the fact that you're on this webinar is a sign that you're demanding. You're seeking for something new. You're seeking for an information that can get you better. That's a demand you're placing. But I'm simply telling you that you're on the path. You're on the path. Keep placing the demand. Life definitely will give you something better if you demand for it. The number two thing that my experience has taught me and might be a vital lesson for you is that the difference between the rich and the poor in some other climb is not just information. In some other climb, it is that there are several opportunities. So let me do it just a position. The difference between probably somebody in the USA, in America, and somebody in Nigeria, there are a whole lot of difference that are not this. Some of the difference is that there are better opportunities. There are more opportunities. There are, opportunities available. There's access to credit. The system is just better. So the difference between somebody and somebody there is just the fact that the system there works. The system here does not work. But also, even within their system, within this system also, oftentimes I've come to figure out that the difference between the rich and the poor sometimes is information. What exactly is this person doing that is working for him? Most likely this person does not know. Information and knowledge sometimes is a major difference between who is at this level and who is at the upper level. What does this person know that has gotten this person here that this other person does not know? And the truth of the matter is, what you don't know cannot work for you. See, the truth of the matter is, when it comes to money making, it is coded in certain information. It is coded in certain activities and actions. And the only way you can access that level of experience is when you have access to the information that these people have that makes things work for them. All right. The final thing that I learned, or that you can pick from this experience, is that when you desire a certain result, you need to learn from those who have the results already. It's as simple as that. So the likelihood is that these people have actually cracked a code. They've actually learned something that if you also want to get to wherever it is they've gotten to, you need to learn exactly the same thing from them. So who is ready for the 3 steps, that 3-step framework that I want to share from my personal experience? So basically, like I said, somewhere in the middle, the aim of this webinar is to get to a point where you can see that there is a possibility that you can actually be doing what you love and be earning money from it, to the extent that you can be doing what exactly you love and you can be earning enough money to live a comfortable life, to live the kind of life that you desire. And I'm about to get into the art of the webinar tonight. I need to be sure that I've not lost you. All right, if you're on Facebook, you're on Zoom, and you're with me, let me know that I am not alone. Then we can move to the next slide and we can hit the button on the ad. We're driving things home already. We're getting into the art of the webinar already. So if you can hear me clearly and you're following on Facebook, on Zoom, let me know. Let me know that you're with me. This is where we are going to. Let me know in the chat box that you are with me and you can hear me clearly. All right, Mary says I'm not alone. Thank you for letting me know that I'm not alone. All right, so quickly, monetizing your passion, 3 steps. 3 steps to monetizing your passion. I'm going to dive straight in, and I need you to have your pen, have your paper, write whatever it is you can write, whatever information you can actually use that might be useful for you, immediately after this, that you can begin to work on. Something is just going to happen to you. You're going to hear something that will shift your mind, that will help you to actually see the world in a better light, that will give you something to go and think about and something to go and work on immediately after this webinar. So you need to have them written down so you don't miss them, because you may never hear them again. It's possible. All right, so the next slide. Step 1. Step 1 is that you need to understand how exactly money comes to people. How, see, the truth of the matter is, we live in a world where we really don't think through certain of our experiences. We don't process our experiences. Sometimes it just happens to us, and we're really not conscious of it. I really don't know why a part of this slide is actually broken, and it's not fully displayed. But what exactly, if you're on Zoom, what is here is understand the principle of wealth creation. How exactly? Okay, so you work now, you work 9 to 5, or you actually run a business. Have you sat down to think about it? What is the mechanics? What is the mechanism behind the money you make? What is the mechanics? What exactly is the, I'm trying to, get the right words to use now. What exactly is the logic? Is is the operational principle behind whatever it is you make right now? Have you sat down to think about it? That is the first step. And I think this first step, if this first step is just what we look at today, then definitely it's going to be a groundbreaker because it's going to do something to your mind. And I'm going to give you something that you're supposed to go and, think about and, and try to figure out immediately after this webinar. And that is number one. So understanding the principle of wealth creation. Wealth creation means you're putting in place systems and processes that helps you to acquire or to generate wealth. And let's say probably wealth is, wealth talks of an abundance that is so massive. Let's just say, understanding the principle of income earning. Let's just make it that simple. Of course, the likelihood is that you're earning income right now, or probably you have earned income at some point of your life, or probably you're aiming to earn income. So I'm going to explain to you, the principle that works behind earning income. So let's dive right in. Number one, you need to understand that money is earned. Money is earned. Money is earned. And what does that mean? It means, oh, I'm trying to. All right. So money is earned. It simply means that what? One of the principles that guides money is that if you're going to have money, whatever amount, now this, we're not even talking about the magnitude, we're not talking about wealth, so much money. But whatever amount of money it is, if you're going to earn any amount of money, if you're going to have any amount of money, you have to earn it. And let me make it very simple. You could actually take it for granted that, okay, so, but I sometimes have 1,000. Somebody dashed me. I didn't earn it. Or probably, you look at your parents and you feel like, oh, my parents give me money. I mean, while growing up, they paid your fees. For some of you whom your parents paid your fees. And, you want to feel like I didn't earn it. That may not be a principle that works. But let me tell you, in a way, you earned it. Why did you earn it? If you're actually you're a child of your parent, you earned that money because what? It is the duty and the responsibility of your parents to actually provide for you. So I don't want to put it, and say you're legally entitled to it, but you're entitled to it, man. They brought you to this world. If they don't want to cater for you, they shouldn't have brought you in the first place. So now that they brought you here, one of the some of the things that people do to succeed in this earth, in this planet, is that they go to school, they're trained and all that. And most of our parents value this same process, and they've seen people do better because they went to school. And so your parents knew that you needed to go to school. And while you're going to school, your parents know that you needed money to get materials and all that. So your parents give you money. You've earned it. You've earned it. You've earned it because you are their child and you didn't beg them in the first place to bring you around. All right. So, but that's really not what I'm saying. Now that you've gotten to an age where you need to make money for yourself, now you're going to an age, most likely you have left school and your parents have stopped their allowance. I mean, if you're a typical Nigerian, especially from a middle class or a lower class family, once you come back home on the last day, once you write your final exams in your final year and you come back home, allowance has died. I know what I'm saying. I know some of you can relate. If you have parents who gave you money, sent you money, you call them anytime and say, oh, daddy, we need to buy this. I have this project. We need money. And who is about to end the Faith Academy? All right, welcome. If you are, if you are born to a typical Nigerian family, middle class especially, maybe middle class, the middle tilting to the upper, they might think differently, but the middle tilting to the lower and the lower class especially. Why is it so? Because much of the time, the money your parents or our parents provided us while we're in school, most of the time it's a struggle for them. So the moment you tell them that you have written your final paper and you have graduated, allowance has stopped. The next thing your parents are doing is, oh, thank you, God. Oh, thank you, God. We are free at last. All right. So that moment, allowance has died a natural death. So you have gotten to the level where we need to welcome you and say, welcome to that phase of your life where you need to begin to learn how to make money for yourself. And that's why you need to now begin to write applications and looking for a job, because welcome to the hustle. All right. But the point is, we have not sat down sometimes to ask ourselves, how really do people make money? What is the dynamics, that helps, that makes people acquire money? Not even talking of wealth, because really you need to earn 100 naira before you earn 1,000. I mean, it starts that way. And you need to also learn a lot of other things around money that helps you to also multiply 100, that it becomes 120, that becomes 130, and all of that. That's a lot of, financial, financial intelligence, subject that I'm not here for tonight. But the basic principle that I want you to learn tonight is that what money is earned, you need to work for money. Now, that work may be brain work, it may be, it may be handiwork, it may be skill work, it may be whatever it is, but money is earned. From the basic principle definition of money that we had from, primary school, what were we told? We said money is a means of value exchange. Money is a medium of exchange, or money is a means of value exchange. It means that money is actually, of course, we're told also that money is a measurement of value. So when you go to the market and you want to buy a pen, the Aboki man or whoever it is that's selling the pen tells you this pen is valued at 50 naira. It definitely means that if you want to have access or own this pen, you want to be in possession of this pen, we are expecting you to give something in exchange, and that's money. And what is the quantity? 50 naira. That's why when you get to the market and tell you a pen is 500 naira, you say, no, because there is a universal, there's a universal acceptance of value. That is, we have looked at this pen and we have said, now let me get a pen. We have looked at this pen and we have said the value of this pen is no more than 50. After all, what is there? It's just plastic and one, rubber inside with some ink. So this thing should not be more than 50 naira. As a matter of fact, it's gotten bad. It used to be probably 10 naira, 20 naira, then it got to 30 naira, and now it's 50 naira. Hopefully, it doesn't get to 100 naira. But we're saying the general accepted value for this is 50 naira. So if I am the seller and you want to actually possess this, you want to use this to write, you need to give me money. And the accepted value is that you need to give me 50 naira to be able to possess this. So money is a what? It's a means of exchange. It means what? Money also money confers value on something. Value also determines, it's interchangeable. But what I'm simply saying is that one of the principles you need to learn is that for you to have money in your pocket, so for me to have money in your pocket, I need your money, you need my pen. So we're going to exchange value. So I'm going to give you this value. This value can help you to put something down on your paper, and you're going to give me that money. That money is what qualifies you to access this value. So the same way, when it comes to making money, what have I done? I've sold you a product and I've collected your money legally. You understand? Except those that do fraud, the legal way to make money is that you must give something in exchange for money. So when you get to that stage where you are now on your own, you need to start earning money. One of the first things you need to ask yourself is, what can I give in exchange for money? What can I give to earn money? And, I'm going to be teaching you a lot of, the dynamics that works. So that when you're thinking after this webinar, your thoughts is going to be collected, because you also need to ask yourself, when it comes to value, giving value for money, it is not you that determines what is valuable. It is not you that determines what is valuable. It is the market, the system, the economy that determines what is valuable. So you want to ask yourself, what can I take to the market, or what exactly does the market need that I can give to the market, and the market will say, oh, exactly this is what we need. Take our money. See, people will give you their money if you give them what they need, if you give them value. So at the point where you need this pen, you probably want to enter into an exam or to write, to have a written exam, and you don't have a pen. You need this pen by all costs. As a matter of fact, if there are nobody selling pen around, there's just one person selling, this thing around, and the person tells you that this thing is actually 500 naira, will you pay? Tell me in the chat box. You want to write an exam, as a matter of fact, you're running late for the exam, you now find out that you don't have a pen, there's just one person selling pen at that point in time. Will you buy this pen for 500 naira? Whether you're on Facebook or you're on Zoom, let me hear in the chat box. Will you buy this pen for 500 naira? Now don't forget the scenario. You want to enter the exam hall, you don't have a pen, you just found out that you thought you had a pen, but now you found out that you don't have a pen. There's just one person selling pen around your exam hall. You can't even begin to look for another person because you are running late. Will you buy this pen for 500 naira? All right, so of course. So at that point, this pen, the value of this pen increases. This pen is naturally valuable because it can help you write something down. But at that moment, this pen becomes extremely valuable. One of the things that happened in 2020 when COVID-19 came is that certain things became what? Extremely important, extremely necessary, extremely valuable. At some point before, some people could actually feel like, I don't even need data. But when COVID-19 came and all of us were locked down in the house, you knew the value of your phone, you knew the value of your data, because you needed to connect with people you could not see in person. That's number one. And number two, you were bored. People were bored to their feet, and therefore, things that were not useful or were not really counted as very important became like oxygen. So let me see the chat box. Yes, as long as I have the 500 at the moment. Even if you don't have 500, I know you will either probably be crying and be begging the person, or probably you say, let me give you my phone. When I finish this exam, I will find the 500, I will collect my phone back. But you know that, this exam is everything for you. Good Allah says, except if the exam is not that important. All right, so the point is, this pen increases in value. So what I'm simply saying is, money answers to value. Money answers to value. One of the dynamics you need to learn is that what? For you to make money in this economy. Now, this alone can change your thinking. Because what you want to do when you are done with this webinar is you want to sit yourself and ask yourself, if money answers to value, if what it takes to earn money is that you need to give something in exchange, you need to give value, what can I give? What do I have to give? Now, many of us have not asked ourselves this. We just probably went to school, we have a certificate, we applied for a job. Oftentimes, maybe we study accountancy and we applied for a teaching job, and they just called you and they give you the teaching job. You really have not sat down to ask, what exactly am I even giving there? What service am I offering there? We really don't process it too many times. And you also need to ask yourself, what value does the world need? What value does the world need? If money answers to value, if the money the truth of the matter is the money you need now that will help you to live a comfortable life, that will help you to live a life that you have always desired to live, that money is in the hands of people right now. It's possible the money is in my hands, sir. But I can't just wake up tomorrow and just call you and say, except maybe the Lord moves me, some spiritual power, supernatural power just moves me to actually bless you with that kind of money. But that's why I'm saying money is earned. The only way that money in my bank now or in my wallet can live there and come into your purse, come into your account now, is that you must have given something. You must have offered me some value. And it must be a value that I need. And like I said, you are not the one who determines what is valuable to me. So if what you're offering right now is not relevant or necessary to me, I might sit and just walk past you. But the point is, you need to ask yourself, what exactly, your money is with me, fine. I mean, I'm saying it like that, like, okay, you're seeing the money in my wallet and I feel like I need this money in your wallet. Okay, fine. You desire the money in my wallet. But the principle of life is what? Money is gotten after you have given value. So what you should be asking yourself is, what is valuable to me? What do I need that you can offer me that will cause me to effortlessly and not unreluctantly put my hand in my wallet or open my app and send the money to you, and you give me the value. So you need to understand that money is earned. That's one. And number two, money answers to value. So you need to ask yourself, what value am I offering now? That to make money. So you need to sit down and process it. What job are you doing now? What value do you offer on the job? Is there a way you can package the value, and probably, increase the perception of the value so that you can earn more? That's one. Two, is there another market that you can offer the same value to that will appreciate it more than now? So let me tell you the truth. Two employers can need your service and can be willing to pay different amounts. So an employer might want to pay you for that same service you're rendering now for 50,000. Another employer wants to pay you 100,000. The truth of the matter is, this other employer paying 100K, has a better perception of the value you're offering. Appreciate that value more. So sometimes the reason why you're not earning as much as you want to earn is that you're just too used to this person, or you're just too contented with whatever this person is earning. You have not looked around to say, is there any other person I can offer this to? Is there any other way I can even offer this? Repackage this, and this can offer, this can actually help me earn more. So we're going to move away from this step one. I said it's 3 steps, 3 things that actually make the breakthrough for me. Number one, I have to sit myself to understand how money is really made. And I found out that money is earned. You need to earn money. You need to do something to be able to legally get people to give you their money. And what is that thing you need to do? You need to offer anything that has value. And I said value is not determined by you. It's determined by the person who has the money. So it is the person that says, oh, this is valuable to me now. You are offering it. Take my money, give me the value. So you need to go to the market, carry out the research. What exactly is valuable in the world today? What is relevant in the world today? What can I do that people will be willing to actually part with their money and give it to me? Step number 2, don't forget, we're not just looking at what you can do to make money. We're looking at what you can do to be fulfilled, to make the kind of money that you need to be fulfilled, and also to what you can do that is your natural space. So it's 2 things. You're earning as much money to live the kind of life you want to live, and you're also doing exactly what you desire to do. You're living the kind of life you want to live. So it's a better scenario would be to imagine the kind of life fishes, a fish lives in the water. The fish is in its natural habitat, it's in its own space. Take the fish away from the water, put it on the soil, put it on the land, and the life of the fish just automatically changes for the negative. So, there are people today, like I said at the beginning, who are doing, a fantastic job and earning a good pay, but they just said to themselves, there is more. I've met people who resigned from their job, even though they were working in an oil company. They had to resign because they just felt like, no, this is monotonous. Maybe because they felt like this routine, this coming to the office and doing the same thing over and over again is not for me. And they resigned and they went to, follow another path. So there are people who today, they are earning good salary, they're well paid, but there's just something inside them that is yearning for more. So this is where your passion comes in. And there are people today, most likely there are people today who are also doing a job that is not paying them enough, and they're just seeking for, there has to be more. This can't be everything that, life is all about. So this is where this other step comes in the formula, which is that what you need to also, if you are seeking, you might actually be content with whatever it is you're doing, fine. My message is actually to people who actually are doing things, working on a job that they feel like, no, there should be more, or there has to be more, or I need something more fulfilling, and so you're looking for exactly that thing that you can do that's going to give you fulfillment. All right, and we're going to do a practical that is going to help you to better get what exactly I am saying. And you should have your pen and your paper, because we're going to walk through it together. And I'm just going to give you a tip into it because of our time, but you will have a framework that you can work with immediately after this webinar. So number 2, I say the second step is that you need to find your own habitat. You need to find exactly what it is that you are cut out for. And, that is exactly what aligns with your personality. What exactly, drives you? What exactly are you going to be doing that you're going to feel happy and fulfilled doing? And sometimes, people do certain things, they don't make as much money from it, but they just wake up and they go to bed peacefully, because they are doing exactly what it is they love doing. But my message is not just to be doing what exactly you're passionate about that you're not making money from. Because someday, I don't know how you think, but I want money. So if I'm doing something I'm passionate about and I'm not getting money from it, ultimately I'm going to be tired of it. Except I'm making money from somewhere, a lot of money from somewhere, and I'm using that money just to, just have fun, to do this other thing that I'm passionate about. That's another thing on its own. But you're not making enough money. You're just saying, oh, I'm all out for passion. You're just going to get yourself worked out, frustrated. And at the end, you're definitely going to give up on that passion. All right. The way, if you study most of the rich people in the world, the likes of Bill Gates and the rest, this is the same pattern their life followed. They went into a business or went into a career, made so much money, then they began, a charity organization. So what is it that they have done? They have acquired so much money and they have, put some of the money or all of the money. Some people give all of their earnings, give it to charity. And they have put all of their earnings to some other things they are passionate about. And this is not about money. This just gives them happiness, gives them fulfillment. And they're helping people, sending money to Africa to help people tackle malaria, to help people tackle HIV/AIDS and the likes. But what's the pattern? They make a lot of money from doing business or doing whatever it is they do in their life, and then they put it into charity. So what I'm simply saying is, if you're actually doing something you're passionate about and you're not making money from it, and you're not living, you're not able to live, a good standard of, to have a good standard of living, you're ultimately also going to feel frustrated. So finding your habitat is finding exactly what you're passionate about and discovering which of your passion is profitable. Don't forget, we're talking monetizing your passion. So if you have understood very well that money is earned, and money answers to value, it definitely means that not all of your passion is profitable, because not all of your passion, represents value to the world or presents value to the world, or maybe it even presents value, but the world does not perceive the value. So then maybe somebody asked me, recently, can I make money from sleeping? And I said, oh, really? One of the ways you can make money from sleeping is if probably you have been somebody who has had insomnia, you've had a sleeping disorder, and you had that for probably some weeks or months or years, and then you figured out a way for those who have insomnia to overcome insomnia. Maybe it's a natural process, or you use one or two things and you overcome insomnia, and you want to teach exactly the same process that you used to overcome insomnia to every other person, going through having that experience, then definitely you can make money from sleep. You get the explanation, because there are a lot of people in the world today who can't get to sleep. I mean, there are a lot of people in the world today, 3 a.m. they are still awake because they just can't sleep. They want to sleep, but they just can't sleep. So if you have what it takes, you've gone through that experience, you have that experience, you have the cheat code to help people actually overcome that, definitely you can actually make money from sleep. But if what you're saying is you just want to sleep and money is just coming to your account, then that's a passion that is not profitable. All right, so there are a lot of things we're passionate about, but not all of them is profitable. I mean, not all of them can be exchanged for money. A lot of factors can determine why it can't be exchanged for money. For instance, I'm passionate about football. As a matter of fact, while I was growing up, I wanted to play football and become a successful footballer. But I had to give up that passion because in this climb, in this part of the world, it's the chances that you're going to end up succeeding as a footballer is very slim, because there are a lot of people who wants to play football, but only a few people get to break out and eventually become successful. If I was probably in a place like UK or US and I want to play football, all I needed to do from my tender age was to go to an academy. At best, even if I don't get to play in the English Premier League, you still get to play in some leagues and earn some decent salary to live your life. But in this place in Nigeria, chances that you're going to end up becoming successful is slim. So just give it up and look for something else. So that may not be a profitable passion. Not because it's actually, globally, it's not profitable, but because in this part of the world, it's not profitable, except you find your way outside here. So you need to find your passion, and you need to find your profitable passion. So your profitable passion is going to be that passion of yours that you have that represents or presents a value to the world, and a value that the world already needs and the world is paying for already. All right. So I'm going to go into the practical session and show you, the formats to actually arrive at this discovering your profitable passion. You want to write this format down because you will need to do the practical yourself after this webinar. I really thought I could probably engage one person, on a practical session, but I may not be able to do that because of our time. So quickly, let's move to the next slide. So there's this concept. This is actually not what we are using, but I mean, what I want to show you is actually born, as a similarity with this concept, or is born from this concept. It's called Ikigai. Ikigai is actually a Japanese concept. It means reason for being. And what it means is there is a center point. Like if you're on Zoom, if you're on Facebook, you really can't see what I'm saying, but you can hear me. If you're on Zoom, you can see that there are four circles, 4 bubbles, and in the first bubble, what you see at the top is what you love. The second bubble to the left, you're going to see what you are good at. The third bubble underneath, you're going to see what you can be paid for. The fourth bubble, you're going to see what the world needs. So at the middle, you're going to see Ikigai. What the Japanese say is that your reason for being is that moment where you find something you can do that brings all of these 4 bubbles together. If you're following me on Zoom, let me know that you're really following me and you can understand what I'm saying. If you're on Zoom, if you're on Facebook, you really can't see what I'm saying, so you just can hear me. But you can also use the link in the comment section to join on Zoom. All right, so if you're on Zoom and you can see my screen and you can understand what I'm saying, the concept of Ikigai says that the reason for being, when a man finds his reason for being, when he finds that one thing that actually brings these 4 parts together. So that is why Ikigai is at the center of the 4 bubbles. So when you match what you love doing, what you are good at, what you can be paid for, with what the world needs, and you find that one thing that brings them together, then you have found your Ikigai. You have found your reason for being. All right, so, but let me go over what I explained earlier. If you're doing something you're passionate about and you're not making money from it, look at it. Look at what you love. So if it is what you love and what the world needs. If those are the two things you bring together, what you're going to get is what you're going to get mission. And that's where missionaries come from, whether it is Christian missionary or religious missionary or whatever form of missionary. The word missionary actually means you're being sent to somewhere, and mostly you're going there for free. You're going there voluntarily. You're going there for a charity work. So if you're doing what you love and the world needs, and the two of them meet together, what you get is mission. And that's just something you're doing, voluntarily. You're not paid for. You're not earning from it. That could end up, getting you frustrated at the end. To my left, which may be your right, if you're doing what you love and what you are good at combined together, that's passion. That speaks about passion. What you love speaks about what you're passionate about, what you just find yourself doing effortlessly. That there are things that you even find yourself that you love it, doing it so much that you can pay people to give you the opportunity to do it. I mean, while I was growing up, I loved playing games so much that we'll take our money to the game center and we're going to pay them to play game. You get the point. We just give, and all we get is just a pleasure, but we enjoy doing it. So if what you love mixed with what you're good at, what you're going to get is profession. What you are good at and what you are paid for. Think of the job you're doing now. Most likely you're good at it and you are being paid for it. That is called your profession. What you can be paid for, coupled with what the world needs, that is called your vocation. All right, so if you look at the arrows that are shooting out, you're going to see to my right, delight and fullness, but no wealth. So when you do what you love and the world needs, and you're not making money from it, you're going to get delight, you're going to get fullness, but you're not going to make any money. If you're doing what you love and what you are good at, if you're doing what you love and what you are good at, you're most likely going to get satisfaction. But without money too, you're going to feel useless, obviously. If you're doing what you are good at and what you can be paid for, and that's all about it, you don't love it, but just good at it. Many of us are doing jobs that we don't love today. We're just doing it because that job gives us some money. So if that's all that your job is to you, you're good at it and you're paid for it, but you don't love it, what you're going to do is you're going to feel comfortable, but you're going to feel empty. So, that was the feeling I was feeling in 2019, waking up 6 a.m., coming back by 11, doing a job I was good at. Obviously, I'm good at administration. I'm good at writing letters. I'm good at, making sure things are arranged, sending out mails. All of my job as a PA, I did them excellently. I'm not sure for over 2 years, for going to 2 years, my boss had one time, like I said, I think I wrote that on Facebook lately. I worked 10 years in the corporate 9-to-5 sector. I was never issued a query for once. So that meant that I was good at what I was doing and I was getting paid for it. Only that I was actually feeling empty because the things I was doing was not what I loved doing. And of course, I was not even earning as much as I would love to earn. All right. So if you're doing what you're paid for and what the world needs, you're going to likely feel excitement and complacency, but there may never be a sense of you may still be left with a sense of uncertainty. So Ikigai says that a man gets to a point in his life where he has found his reason for being, deep joy and fulfillment, when he gets to that point and he figures out what he loves to do, what he's good at, what he can be paid for, and what the world needs. And the four of them meet together at the center. That is your Ikigai. That is your reason for being. So in monetizing your passion, based off that, I've come up with a template that I saw work for me and that I know can work for anybody if you actually take your time to walk through it. It's also one of the things that I teach people, when I work with them, coaching them. It's one of the processes that I take you through. That's how you're going to find your monetizable passion. That's how you're going to find your passion that you can monetize. All right. If you put all of them together, you're going to arrive at something you're passionate about. You're going to arrive at something that you are good at. Even if you're not good at it now, you're going to know that you can definitely go and get skilled in it and get to do it, and get to do it better. And you're also going to be getting paid from it. And I'm going to show you that practically from my own experience, but I'll give you the format so that you can actually also do what? Also do it immediately after the webinar. So you're going to draw a table. You're going to draw a table with three columns, a table with 3 columns. On the first column, this is not directly Ikigai. So this is just, something that we have to carve out from that Ikigai. So we're just going to have 3 columns instead of, 4 bubbles like you saw in the last page. So the first column, you're going to have what you love. That's what you're passionate about. Number 2, you're going to have what you are good at. Then the third section, you're going to have what the world needs. Now, I'm going to give you a practical example of my own self and how I came about the businesses that I do, that has made me that makes me 7 figures. So the point is, you're going to have 3 tables. Don't forget, you're going to have 3 tables. Now, you may just write them down now, and then you can do it later. But you can also follow through while I'm saying it. Then it's also good for you. You have a table that has 3 columns. The first column, the heading is what I love doing. That is what you're passionate about. The second column is what you're good at. The third column is what the world needs. Because it's what the world needs that the world will pay for. I mean, if the world does not need it, the world won't pay for it. So if your passion can meet with what you're good at and can also meet with what the world needs, then definitely you have found your monetizable passion. And I can tell you, you're on the path to making some good money. Are we together? There are still other tests that I actually use with my students to help them also further confirm if this thing you want to do as a business, as a career path you want to follow, if it's actually going to be profitable. And when I mean profit, I'm not saying that I'm going to make some thousands. I mean, you're going to make real money. There are still other things that we do to actually test, and to validate that. But this is just, the basic and the very fundamental one that I wanted you to have access to tonight. So I have a table with 3 columns. One of the heading is what you love. That's your passion. Number 2, what you are good at. That could be your skill, your profession, your experience, your knowledge. Then the last one is what does the world need? So what you're going to do is you're going to fill those 3 columns. If you can't do that now, you're going to do that later. So what I did personally was that I had the 3 columns. Then I asked myself, now when you're writing what you love, what you're passionate about, just take your time to reflect. Think back to where you were young, the things you love doing, whether you love playing ball, you love watching movies, you love writing, you love drawing. You're going to make a very comprehensive list of that under what you love. It can be 10, it can be 20, anything you love. You love eating, you love teaching, you love explaining things. List all of them on that section. So for me, I had to list, so that's where your hobby also come. Your hobby is also coming. I list the fact that I love traveling. I love traveling. I think I mentioned that earlier. I love traveling. I hate to be in one place for too long. But I stay in a place for 1 month, 2 months. I'm thinking of where else can I travel to? And that was why 9 to 5 was not working for me, because you needed to probably apply for leave. And sometimes your leave is just once in a year and it's 7 days. And sometimes you need to wait till December before you can go for vacation. I don't like that kind of life. I want to do work for 1 month, 2 months, then take a vacation, go for 1 week, go to another place. But I mean, if you're on a 9 to 5 job, you can't do that. So for somebody like me, I love traveling, I love adventure. I had to leave. One of the reasons I had to leave my job is that the routine was just, was boring my soul. So you want to write, your hobbies, the things you love doing, you're passionate about, an exhaustive list. I wrote the fact that I love traveling. I wrote the fact that I like talking. As you can see, I've been talking for 1 hour, 41 minutes, and I can talk till tomorrow. I like talking. I like writing. I love reading. I love football. I love video games. You write an exhaustive list of what you love. Then number 2, what are you good at? You're going to write maybe the skills you have learned, the trainings you have gone through, your professional qualification to what you read in school. That's part of what you're good at. Maybe you studied accounting. You're good with numbers and figures. For somebody like me, I'm good at communication because I studied it. I'm good at teaching. I mean, right from when I was young, when I teach, I get commendations that I was in the Sunday school department. So for me, teaching has always been a natural space. So some of the things I listed in what I'm good at is that I like teaching. I like, I'm good at teaching. I'm good at communication. I'm good at writing. I'm good at speaking. I'm good at, starting conversations. I'm good at organizing things. I'm good with leadership. I've, held several leadership positions. I've done very well in those positions. So all of those things, those are the things you are good at. They could be your professional qualification. They could be your skills. I'm good at digital marketing, email marketing. Those are the skills that I have learned. So you put that to also in the second column. And the last column, you're going to think deeply, look around you, your immediate environment. What are the needs in your immediate environment? That's where to start from. Once you have exhausted a few lists, now some of these things you can do them online. Go online, carry out research. What does the world need today? What are the global problems? What are the problems that are being faced globally in countries and in different climes? You want to list all of them there because that is a teaser into what the world will pay you for. If there's a problem that the world is going, for instance, last year the world was faced by COVID-19. The world was faced with coronavirus and there was no cure. Everybody, many of these pharmaceutical companies and science, universities and institutions were actually kind of saving research. until we now have vaccines. So the truth of the matter is, there's a problem. There was a problem in the world then. It's still a problem now. So we're still in the pandemic. But there was a problem then. It means what? Whoever provides solution to that problem, has provided a global solution. And it means every nation in the world will actually patronize the person. So if there's a problem, if there's something the world needs now, that's a clue to you that, see, this is where the money is now. If you can provide solution to this problem, using what you are good at and what you are passionate about, if you put those two together and you can meet a particular need in the world, now you are sure you will make money. Are we together? So like I said, one of the things that the world needs is that there's a need in the education sector. There's a need for affordable education. There's a need in the education space for self-education. The self-education industry is fast rising. There's a need for digital marketing solutions. There are a lot of needs in the world right now. So what you want to do is also make an exclusive, exhaustive list of the needs that are in the world today. And then you now want to sit and look at where does this connect. Now, this is actually a practical session that I actually take my coaching students through, and I hold your hands to actually go through it. But you can actually use the information that I provide you now to also run through it. You're now going to find connecting dots between what is it that I'm passionate about, that I'm good at, that the world also needs, that I can tie the three together and I can provide a solution. Do you understand? So for instance, when I decided to start Optimal Edge, one of the pressing needs in the world, of course, is that today, the internet, the social media, and the social media has actually led to the emergence of digital marketing. And almost every company today, I mean, even small businesses, they have Facebook pages, they have Instagram pages, because they are looking for solutions of how they can put their market in the social media space to actually reach, people even outside their, immediate environment to make sales. So people are looking for marketing solutions. So one of the things that I'm good at is that I'm good with communication, I'm good with writing, I'm good with speaking, and I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about teaching, about education. So one of the things I had to do was, okay, these two connects, and there's a need in the world in the marketing space. Okay, this skill set, this passion aligns with this need. And that's how I actually came about the business that I do. That's how I came about Optimal Edge. What we do in Optimal Edge, aligns with my passion, utilizes the things that I'm skilled at, and we are meeting the need in the world. And I can tell you that is one of the mainstream of my income. So it is finding your passion that you can monetize. So once you can find a meeting point between the three, now in my full program, I actually show you if you find a connection within the three, I show you 8 things that you can actually create in terms of service, in terms of products, 8 different things you can create that you can actually turn into something you can sell to the world and get money from the world. All right. Some of them are digital solutions. Some of them are concrete products, tangible products. But this is actually what I do, exhaustively, in my coaching program. But this template actually is the template that you can use to actually arrive at your passion that you can monetize. And like I said, once you find your passion that you can actually convert into some good money, you're going to end up with something that you will be doing that you will feel fulfilled. Seeing what you do cause change in the lives of people, and seeing your bank alert sounding, to the measure or the maximum amount that you can actually use to live the kind of life that you desire. Now, so that is what I mean by monetizing your passion. What passion do you have that meets a need in the world? Now, like I said, the middle part, which is what you are good at. Sometimes you may have a passion that meets a need and you're not so good at it right now. What you just need to do is it gives you a direction as to what skill should you be acquiring next, what certification should you be going for, what training should you be investing in now, so that you can measure up. As a matter of fact, sometimes you find your passion, find your skill, and find a need where you see that, okay, you still need to upgrade your skill to be able to deliver at probably a global level. I mean, probably the level of your skill now, you can serve the local market, but you want to break into the international markets, you need to attain, acquire certain certifications, go for certain skills. Then you need to know, then it gives you, a direction into, okay, this is what I should be doing next. This is what I should be investing, in next, so that I can upgrade to that level. If you understood this explanation in the chat box, for those on Zoom, please let me know so that I can go to the next slide. So number one, I said Understand the principles of wealth accumulation. Money is earned. That's number one. And aside from the fact that money is earned, it takes value to earn money. So you need to offer value for somebody's money to legally leave their account, leave their wallet, and come to your possession. So number two, how do we now arrive at the value you can offer? That's when we now talk about what passion do you have that can be monetized. The whole thing we're looking at is what? Finding your reason of being, finding your ikigai. That thing you're going to be doing that you're passionate about and that is making money. Not just that you're passionate about it, you're just doing charity. You're doing it like a missionary. No, we're talking business here. We're talking money. So what is it that you're passionate about that you can do? It will give you fulfillment that you're doing it, but it's also making you money. So much money that you can live the kind of life that you want to live, such that you can wake up every morning joyful and happy to go to your business, to go to your work, because you're doing what you're passionate about and you're earning a decent living from it. That is the whole concept of monetizing your passion. In my proper coaching program, I take people through this process of self-awareness, self-discovery, and then I take people through the process of really turning that you have discovered, turning it into an actual business. How to actually turn it into a proper business, how to go about the marketing and all that. I actually take you through all of them. Okay, Faith Ikalume says you understood it, Mary. Thank you. All right, so I feel you must have learned one thing or the other in this webinar. If you end the webinar now, maybe I want to believe you have gotten some value. So we can proceed. So number one, once you understand how money is made, like I said, after this webinar, you want to ask yourself, if money is made by exchange of value, what value can I offer to get people's money in my... So when you're thinking of, I want to make money, I know if you're on this call, you definitely want to make money. You want to, have money, so much money. So you don't want to do fraud. You don't want to be a Yahoo person. You don't want to fraud, go into fraudulent things. So you need to sit yourself and ask. The legit way to make money is that you need to offer value to make money. That's the legal way. Those who do fraud have to scheme and do all of those, manipulations to make money, but you want to make money the right way. You want to ask yourself, what value can I offer for people to pay me for, to earn the kind of money I want to earn? So let's say you want to earn 100 naira. Now let me make it simple. You want to earn 100 naira. You want to ask yourself, what value can I offer at the worth of 100 naira? So don't forget, we use the pen. This pen is 15 naira. If I want to earn 15 naira, what I need to do is get something that is as valuable as a pen and go and look for who needs this value and offer this value to the person. Once I can meet that person that needs the value, offer this value to the person will joyfully and happily give me 15 naira. If I want to earn 100 naira, I need to have two of this. And I need to look for two people who need this value. So that is where scaling comes in. So if you want to make just some amount of money, what value can you offer to get that kind of money? If you want to make a lot of money, what value can you offer to a lot of people to make that kind of money? Or sometimes, if you want to make that, some kind of money you make in real estate, for instance, like I said, when I was doing real estate in 2016, I didn't sell too many lands, but just sell about 10 to 20 lands, and your life will never remain the same. Because what you're offering is high value. High value such that one land you sell, the commission on that land can actually cover for probably 1,000 pen. Do you understand? 1,000 pen should be 50 times 1,000. That's 50,000. The commission of selling one land can actually cover for 1,000 pen. So what you're offering is high value. So you just need to offer probably sell 10 lands and you have 500,000. But to get 500,000 from this, you need to sell this barrel to a whole lot of people. So these are some of the dynamics of businesses. So when you want to start a business, that either offers high value, such that once you do one or two transactions, you make a lot of money. Or you want to do a business that is scalable, such that you can put in systems and processes to sell that same product that earns little money to many people at the same time. And that's how you're going to make your plenty money. So do you understand that very well? So we can move to step 3. So number 1, I've understood how money is made. Number 2, you have found out your monetizable passion. The next step is to create a system where you can actually and this system is all-encompassing in the sense that you want to package that thing you have discovered into a product or a service. That's why I said, in my coaching program, I also take you through about 6 to 8 things that you can also convert that monetizable passion into as a product or service that you can exchange for money. So number three, the third thing that I did is that I created what I discovered into a system for exchange of value. And some of the things I also teach in my coaching program is marketing. How do you, how to identify your market? One of the things I learned from Steve Harris, like I said, that's where coaching is very important. One of the things I learned from Steve Harris, imagine going for I think it was about 6 to 7 weeks coaching program. And the only thing that you could probably pick, the value you got that worked for you is just one thing. And that one thing is the main thing that made the difference that your business began to earn 6 and 7 figures. So it's possible you even attend a coaching program and a lot is said in the coaching program. It's possible I've said a lot in this webinar and you're just picking one thing that will change your life. You get the point. So, but the point is that you got value. So, one of the things Steve Harris said to us, while we're in the coaching program is rather than sell to the sheep, look for the shepherd. And what was he trying to say? What he was trying to say is rather than sell to, to the people at the middle level, probably the employees, let's just put that as that, rather than go and prospect the employees that probably their salary is 50,000. And so what you can get from their salary, when you sell something to them is probably 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. He says, go for the what? Go to the shepherd, go for the managers, go for the CEOs. So it means you might need to rebrand and repackage whatever you're offering such that it can match up to that level. And once you go to offer it at that level, you can be sure that the reward is going to be more than the reward of, when you're selling to the sheep. That's a marketing strategy. For instance, I can't remember who said this recently, and I heard it, and it's like, sell to kings. Sell to kings because one reward from a king can change your life. For instance, going back to the Bible, I'm still sorry again. This is not actually me putting my religion on you, but just as an example, when Joseph interpreted the dream of Pharaoh, what did he get in return? The position of the prime minister, the second in command to the king. When he interpreted the dream of the butler, what did he get? He got a mention to the king, of course. That mention led to that. But the reward he got from interpreting the dream of the prisoners compared to what he got from the king, they are two different things. What David got for killing Goliath from King Saul was massive. Because when you sell to certain people in certain caliber, they are able to perceive the worth of what you are offering and they are able to reward you accordingly. So these are part of creating a system for value exchange. So what I'm simply saying is that step one, you've understood how money is made. Value must be offered for you to make money. Oh, I think I remember where I learned the other part, where you sell, where you render your services to king. That should be from Apostle Joshua Selman. So step three, you now need to create a system to exchange the value you have discovered for money. Because, it's more or less like what you discover in step two is actually crude. It's not refined yet. So this is the process where we now refine and package it. For instance, when I found out that, okay, the world needs marketing solution, needs people that would do content creation and all of that. What I simply did was that I packaged that into a business, and the business is called Optimal Edge. The business is registered. The business has a website. That is creating a system for value exchange, such that when I prospect a client and say, we can actually provide content for you, for your website, for your blog. The person says, okay, what are the works you've done? We should take them to the blog, give them the link. They go to the blog, they look at the website, look at the, the arrangement and everything. Like, these guys are professional. We can do business with this guy. So that is creating a system for the exchange of value. And I'm a person who is giving out to entrepreneurship, who's giving out to personal development. So if I bring you to this level, you can be sure that what I'm going to pitch into you is actually not going to be career 9 to 5. It's actually going to business. Even though there's also a way you can actually use the same system that I've explained, step 1, step 2. You can get to step 3 and package step 1 and step 2, and then go for the high market in your career 9 to 5. It's actually possible. You can actually find your way around it. But if you're giving to entrepreneurship, the next thing you want to do is actually what? If you're giving to business, because there's a part of entrepreneurship too that also applies to somebody who is doing 9 to 5. Entrepreneurship applies also in the corporate sector. So if you are giving to business, you're passionate about running business or doing business, then the next thing you want to do is you want to create a system for exchanging that which you have discovered in step 2 for the money of people. That's where marketing comes in. That's where branding comes in. That's where sales comes in. and all of those things, which are better explained or better, we should better look at in a coaching, in a proper coaching, platform. This is 10:58. We've spent 1 hour 58 minutes here. So it means, much of this step three is a world on its own. It's a world on its own. It's a world on its own. As a matter of fact, step two also, what I gave to us is just a foundation. One of the things you can do to discover something that you can do that is profitable. There are still other steps. There are still some tests you might still need to put the idea through, the business idea, whatever you came up with through, just to be sure that this journey you're about to start is a journey that will make you money. I mean, this is a business that is tested, that's trusted. What I see people do today when they want to start business is, like I said earlier, people are doing this, it looks like they are succeeding. Let's just do it too. And it doesn't work for everybody like that. That's one. So what other people also do is, people are doing fashion, people are learning fashion design. I can also learn fashion design and start sewing clothes, and start making money from it. People go into business for, casually, without doing any groundwork, without doing any market research, without, doing the basic things that serious-minded business people do when they actually want to launch their business, which guarantees or gives them a good foundation for them to actually launch out. And it will guarantee their success. Market testing, understanding your customers and all of that, those are things that you do under step 3. All right, so this is the point where I want to leave you with this quote. Making money is easier if you know how people make money and you can replicate the system. See, the only reason why you feel making money is difficult is that you probably don't understand a few of these things. See, if you take your time after this webinar to sit through, understand again, let it sink in your mind that it takes value to make money. And you want to sit yourself down to ask, what value can you offer to make money? You want to ask yourself, what does the world need, and all that we did, all the practical sessions we had under step 2. Once you can put that together, and then you now give yourself to learning how to go about marketing, how to go about sales and all that, how to connect with your market, how to reach your market, how to get your product and service in the front of the people who need it, the people you're wired to serve. Then once you can find your way around those, those aspects, I tell you, making money becomes easy, becomes clear. Now, let me not use the word easy. It becomes clear. You now have a roadmap. You have a path that you can follow, such that, see, it might take you 1 year, it might take you 2 years, but you have a path that is clear, that if I stay on this path, I will make a lot of money. If I stay on this path consistently, I will definitely, where I'm going to head is massive money. Not the one where you're doing and you're not really sure, let's do this today, let's do this tomorrow. When you try this and it's not working, you move to another one. We've done that for so long, but this should give you a roadmap, a clear roadmap, a clear footprint, such that once you step out, you know that all I just need to do is to be consistent. All I just need to do is to walk this path, and I'm going to get to my destination. All right, so making money is possible, becomes easier if you know how people made theirs and you can replicate their system. And that's why it's called a system, because it has worked. And it works, and it works. So if you can find the system, lay your hand on the system and replicate it, chances are that you will get the result that you desire to get. And this is the point where, so let me know in the chat box if you have been on this webinar, if you have been on the Zoom, if you're in the Zoom class, and of course on the Facebook, if you have gotten value from this webinar, let me know in the chat box. If this has been valuable, if you have learned 1 or 2 things, if you have had 1 or 2 aha moments, something you had that just struck your thinking, that's gotten you thinking, that will get you to still continue to think, or to do some research, do some brain work after this webinar, let me know in the chat box if this has been 2 hours well spent. If you feel, wow, I'm glad I used my data on this tonight, let me know in the chat box. Let me know in the chat box. Also on Facebook, if you're on Facebook and you've gotten value from this webinar, let me know. Today, value gotten, we'll work on the 3 practicals. All right, Mary says, thank you so much. It's been value packed. All right. All right, so this is the final part. This is where I also give you the opportunity to work with me in my upcoming program, the Monetize Your Passion 7 weeks intensive. Now, this is not an intensive webinar. This would have passed for a master class anyway. But of course, to be a master class, I've probably made it a 3 hours class where we all, would have stayed so long on the step 2, and have everybody do practicals and even come on live and share their findings, and of course help you further to get more results. But this is not a master class. This is just, it's just it's simply a webinar. It's not a master class webinar. All right, so in the Monetize Your Passion program, it's going to be a 7 weeks transformational coaching program. When I say 7 weeks transformational coaching program, I'm simply saying it's going to be an intensive 7 week. Now, we're not going to be doing much of talking. We're going to be doing talking, guiding, and of course, we're going to be going into practicals. For instance, step 2, finding your monetizable passion. We're going to be doing this, practical. I'm also at the advanced level, and I'm going to be in the coaching classes, guiding everybody in the coaching program to helping them to find what passion can they monetize. And at the end of the coaching program, what you're going to come up with is that you're going to get to a level where you're going to be self-aware. You're going to be more self-aware. You're going to discover yourself. Many of us don't even know what we're passionate. We don't even know what gives us joy and fulfillment. We don't know. Many of us probably are just used to the level where somebody just buys you one gift and you're so fulfilled. But what really do you want to do with your life on the long run? I mean, that you can do to your 90, 100 and you die and you feel like, wow, I lived a fulfilled life. Ask yourself, what you do right now, is this something you want to do for the rest of your life? The likelihood is that the answer is no. So how do you get to that point where you're self-aware and sure? See, what I do now, this talking, this writing, the businesses that I run, this is what gives me fulfillment and happiness. And I don't mind doing this for the rest of my life. The joy of seeing people come to my webinar, come to my coaching program and experience transformation. That's a fulfillment that I want. That's why I write on Facebook. That's why I, put out content on Facebook. And when I see people read the content, get changed, get results, get transformed, I'm fulfilled. Now, I'm talking on the career and business level. There are deeper things that give me fulfillment outside business, outside money. Of course, that's tied to my faith. But on this level, this is not a faith seminar. This is not church. All right. So this is business. This is the career world. So what I'm simply saying is, have you gotten to that point where you have figured out what exactly you want to do with your life for the rest of it, and you're going to be fulfilled doing it, and you're going to be happy waking up? Sometimes I work 22 hours out of 24 hours, sincerely. Part of it is because I'm nocturnal, but part of it also is because I'm doing what I love doing. You won't see stress on me. You won't see fatigue. And, I work more than many people do. I stay up late at night. Sometimes I'm just reading. Sometimes I'm just writing. But it gives me joy. It gives me joy to see people read what I do, see my work, get to relate with me and get transformation, get results, get better. That's what gives me joy. That's what makes me fulfilled. All right. So one of the things you're going to get from this 7-week coaching program, you're going to become more self-aware of yourself, self-discovery. You're going to also leave the coaching program with a profitable business idea. I can guarantee you that. You're going to leave the program with, this is the business I want to do. That we have taken you to the process and you are sure that this business we can't fail. I mean, we're going to give you the blueprint and the framework to a good foundation for you to start a business. I've actually gone into a lot of studies when it comes to business. When I ask people, number one, why have you not started your business? Some people say it's because they don't have capital. But I tell people, if you are really an entrepreneur, you can't say capital is the reason why you have not started business. As a matter of fact, as an entrepreneur, you need to understand that the first thing that should get you worried is actually not capital. When you want to start a business, capital is the last thing that you should be thinking about. And one of the things that I'm going to take people who join the coaching program through is how to raise capital for your business. And that's the last module. That's the 7th week. After we must have brushed up your idea, taught you marketing, taught you sales, then we now look at how can you raise money, whether it's 100,000 you want to use to start, or 200 or 1 million. How can you raise capital for your business? But one thing is guaranteed: you're going to leave the coaching, the 7 weeks coaching program with a defined business plan, with a profitable business idea, with every blueprint, and every framework mapped out. Number 3, you're definitely going to get a blueprint to launch your business. That's why I said it's going to be 7 weeks of practical classes. It's going to be theory and practical. You're going to get assignments, take homes. Once we have a coaching program today, You're going to have a take-home and assignment, a task that you're going to do. And when we come back the next week for the coaching, we're going to be reviewing the task. What did you do well? What do you need to tweak to get a better result? I'm going to be holding people's hands to get, the perfect result that I want everybody to get. And that's why the class is going to be limited to just 20 persons, because I want to be sure that I attend to everybody that joins the Monetize Your Passion program. The registration for the program is going to open on the 1st of September. That's as early as 12 a.m. on September 1st. The doors for the registration is going to be open. You can actually register as an early bird September 1st to September 5th. You will be paying just $80 for those that may want to register from outside Nigeria. But if you're Nigerian, it's 40,000 naira. And if you don't make the early bird registration, which is September 1st to 5th, registering between September 6th to 10th, you're going to be paying $100 for international students, 50,000 if you are registering within and from Nigeria. This is the most affordable coaching program you're going to ever get around. But this will get you the results you want to get. If you have always thought about starting a business, you don't know which business to start, you don't even know how to start, you have done businesses, you have failed, and you're looking for a framework, a blueprint of how to start a successful business, then Monetize Your Passion is for you. So your passion into profit comes down to 3 questions. Number 1, what value can you offer to earn money? Don't forget, money answers to value. If you're going to get people's money to leave their wallets, leave their bank accounts, and come into yours in a legal way, you need to offer them value. So what value can you offer to make money? Number 2, which of your passion meets a need in the world? Because that is the passion you can monetize. I mean, if your passion does not solve any problem, what is business about? Business is solving problem. What is career work about? It's solving problem. If you work for a company as an accountant, what problem are you solving? You are solving their financial problem. You're helping them to balance their book. You are solving a problem. If you're doing business, every business stands to solve a problem. This biro, this pen solves a writing problem. If you want to document something, you need this to document something. So it meets a need. That's what I'm simply saying. The phone we have, the gadgets we use, they meet a need. So every business, every career work either solves a problem or meets a need in the world. So which of your passion, don't forget, this is not just a business coaching program. This is helping you to align your self-awareness and self-discovery, what you're passionate about, with a business that you can do. That ultimately you're going to be making enough money to live the life you want to live, and you're also going to feel fulfilled waking up to do what you do. Just going to feel joyful. You're going to feel young. You're not going to go to bed and say, oh, tomorrow we're going to work again. All right. Since 2020, when I stopped working, I've never had a day when I'm going to bed and I feel like, when I wake up, I feel very joyful because I'm doing what I love to do. So which of your passion meets in the world? That is the passion that you can monetize. And finally, how can you package number 2 into a product or a service? And so much of what my coaching program will do for you is that it's going to help you solve number 2 and number 3. Number 1, you can sit on that yourself. But of course, it solves number 1, number 2, number 3. So because by the time we solve number 2, solve number 3, we would have actually arrived at the point where we have a value that we can offer to the world. A value that we can offer to the world and the world can pay you for. That's why we said at the end of the program, you're definitely going to arrive, you're going to be living with a profitable business idea. So what would be left is you to go into the field, put in some work and get things done. Because the only thing that changes things is action. So this is the acronym ACT, ACT. Action changes things. So if you get all of the information you got tonight and you don't take any action, things are not going to change. That's not a cost. That's reality. Things will still be the same way it's always been and still going to be the same story. So what are you going to do differently after this webinar? That is your food for thought. So as you leave this webinar, don't just acquire all of the knowledge and go keep it somewhere. What will you be doing with it? Action is what changes things. So if your situation is going to change, if you're going to make the kind of money you want to make, you're going to find yourself doing something you're passionate about, what action do you want to take after this webinar? Is that action going to be that you're going to sit down, look at what we have talked about and go through the practicals and, help yourself to arrive at something you can do to make money? Or you're going to be registering for the business coaching program? That's also an action But the truth of the matter is the only thing that changes things is action. It's commonly said that knowledge is power. But I beg to say that knowledge is actually what? It's actually potential power. Knowledge has potential power. The only time knowledge becomes power is when that knowledge is put into use. So if the knowledge is not used, it's not utilized, it has power, but you won't see the power. But once you put the knowledge to use, then knowledge becomes power. And on this note, I want to say thank you so much for joining tonight's webinar, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's on Facebook. Thank you, and I want to see you actually looking at. I want to see you putting all of the things you have learned into practice, into action points and action steps. And I want to see you at the top. I want to see you living the life that you desire to live, and I want to see you earning the kind of money that you desire to earn. Thank you.